You're watching the Metro Network, and my name, of course, is Rajiv K. Bajaj, and you're watching me on the RKB Show. That's right, this is the RKB Show, and as you know, Metro Network is the only cable community platform at the moment in this country. At least that's what I know. In case there is somebody else also doing the same work, I really would love to know that. We'd be glad to be enlightened. Another moment with us, we have our old friend back from Bhutan, back from doing all sorts of things for the country, for the world, and for people in general, right here with us, our old friend, Prof.A.G.Iyer. Professor Saab, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका वापस आने के लिए. Thank you so much.
Namaskar and welcome all your viewers on this show, because this will be a very important show where we are going to discuss what happened in Bhutan.
And apart from Bhutan, of course, you've your friend has just, a man you've supported for a long time, has just become the RBI governor, the Reserve Bank of India governor.
That is the biggest good, hopeful news of India. RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan. Nothing better than this. There was no better decision that could have been made. So I hope this decision changes.
What do you mean by no better decision could have been made? We're talking, of course, of Raghuram Rajan.
Absolutely.
And by the way, he's the youngest RBI governor in the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
पिछले 30 बरस में इतना young कोई RBI governor नहीं बना. What
Yeah,
does that mean? What is that?
I think after C.D. Deshmukh,
Yes.
we should say that
Yes.
he is the youngest governor. And I tell you what's happening. Raghuram Rajan is the man who predicted the collapse of the US economy 3 years in advance in 2005. So 2008-9 we saw the US pummeling down. So this man predicted it, and very nicely with his own economic agenda. And then I think US recognized him quite late, and it's good that India recognizes him today and puts him up with our own federal example of federal bank, the Central Bank of India, the Reserve Bank of India. And I tell you today, the rupee is at its lowest. On the day he took, rupee was at 61.60.
Yeah.
Sorry, dollar was at 61.60 to the rupee. On the worst level he has taken up. And
That's
I think
right.
it just recovered a little bit now. Okay.
Just by a few.
Just by a few paisa. So he has a lot on his hand. And the second thing is that Raghuram Rajan has come at a time when our forex reserves are at the lowest in the last 10 years. And actually it is at 280 billion.
You've got the forex reserve, that is foreign exchange reserves are
at
the lowest. Infrastructure is moving at a snail's pace.
Yes.
All our major power projects are all held up. In fact, that's what we were talking about before we came onto the show.
Right.
We have a major problem after the floods in Uttaranchal. In fact, hydropower has become a dirty word.
Absolutely.
Isn't that awful? I mean, maybe we should do something about it. Isn't that a bit of an overreaction to what took place in Uttaranchal? Uttaranchal में जो कुछ भी हुआ उसको लेकर के ये शायद बड़ा ओवर रिएक्शन है, क्योंकि जैसा आप बता रहे थे और इतने सालों से आप बोले जा रहे हैं कि उत्तरांचल में जिस प्रकार हम लोग हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स कर रहे हैं वो बिल्कुल गलत तरीका है. Isn't that right?
Yes, देखिए क्या है कि जो मेजर हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट्स है वहाँ, अब आप एग्जाम्पल लीजिए तेहरी बना है वहाँ पर. तेहरी ने तो इस बाढ़ के अंदर आई थिंक दिल्ली को ही बचा लिया, क्योंकि अगर स्टोरेज नहीं होता तो मेरे ख्याल से दिल्ली अंदर होती, देहरादून तो अंदर होता ही पानी के. तो कहने का क्या मतलब है, ऑल हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट इज नॉट बैड. एंड सेकंड थिंग क्या है कि वहां पर पॉलिटिशियंस के 8-8 मेगावाट 10-10 मेगावाट के वो चूहे की बिल की तरह वो बम्पर टू बम्पर डैम बन रहे थे. इसको हमें कैंसिल करना है. हमें जो लार्जर प्रोजेक्ट है, जैसे अब इसमें नुकसान किसका हुआ, बड़े प्रोजेक्ट जैसे विष्णु प्रयाग बन रहे थे उनका नुकसान हुआ, जो इनकी धौली गंगा बन रही थी NHPC की उसका नुकसान हुआ. ये बड़े प्रोजेक्ट ने भी नुकसान खाया छोटे लोगों की गलतियों से. तो इसलिए सारा हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट खराब नहीं है. हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट ठीक से डेवलप किया जाए तो किसी भी राज्य के लिए और राष्ट्र के लिए ये बहुत बड़ी शक्ति बन सकती है.
लेकिन यहाँ पर हुआ क्या है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल एज फार एज उत्तरांचल इज कंसर्न, प्लीज करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग. जहाँ तक उत्तरांचल का प्रश्न है, एक बार फिर मैं आप लोगों के सामने ये बात रखना चाहता हूँ. उत्तरांचल में जिस प्रकार अब तक जो पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स की डेवलपमेंट हुई है उत्तरांचल में,
हाँ जी,
आपने सुरंगें बना दी हर जगह पे,
छोटे
बम्पर टू बम्पर आपने सुरंगें बना दी.
किलोमीटर के अंदर दूसरी सुरंगें बन रही हैं. ये कहाँ है?
And as a result of which, the other thing that you have done, you have decimated whole hillsides and mountain sides of all the trees. All the tree cover is gone.
Absolutely.
अब ये कौन से हाइडल पावर प्रोजेक्ट में लिखा है कि आप ट्री कवर को निकाल दें, बल्कि जहां ट्री कवर को निकालने की जरूरत है और जरूरत पड़ती है, ऐसी बात नहीं कि नहीं पड़ती, वहां पर क्लियर कट है. अगर आप एक पेड़ को काटते हैं तो आपको 10 पेड़ लगाने हैं.
बिल्कुल. और
1:10 की रेशियो होती है.
ये मैं आपको बड़ी अच्छी एग्जांपल देता हूँ. कोल डैम NTPC का, वो भी उसी इलाके में है. लेकिन जब कोल डैम बना था तो कोल डैम में करीब 60,000 पेड़ लगाए NTPC ने. नेशनल थर्मल पावर कॉर्पोरेशन
जी।
ने। तो मेरा कहना है कि आप ये अच्छी कंपनियों को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिए बिना आप नेताओं को के रिश्तेदारों को और क्या बोलते हैं छोटी छोटी कंस्ट्रक्शन माफिया जिनके पास कोई इक्विपमेंट नहीं है, जिनके पास कोई क्षमता नहीं है, 1 किलोमीटर रोड नहीं बना सकते, उनको आप डैम कंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहे हैं, उनको आप पावर प्रोजेक्ट बनाने के लिए दे रहे हैं। ये तो बहुत बड़ी गलती है। तो मैं तो ये चाहूँगा कि उत्तराखंड में ये छोटे छोटे जो फालतू प्रोजेक्ट डेवलप कर रहे हैं जिनका कोई बैकग्राउंड नहीं है, उनको आप लाए ना। हमारे देश की जो बड़ी बड़ी अच्छी कंपनियां, जेपी है, जयप्रकाश हाइड्रो है, HCC है, पटेल इंजीनियरिंग है, आपकी जिंदल पावर है, और आपकी ये बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं। इवन आपकी बड़ी विदेश, अभी मैं गया था भूटान में, तो वैपकोस वाज विद मी। वैपको इज द बिगेस्ट इंजीनियरिंग कंसल्टेंट इन द वर्ल्ड टुडे। How many people know in India that this is the best engineering consultant in the world? And it's the government of India company. So you are not involving these people. And what you are involving, some chunta punta, the name, some Ganga Jamuna project construction, some I don't know what all. You know, so these kind of companies are fly-by-night operators. They have nothing to do with Uttarakhand development. They are squatters. They sit on the project, dig up the entire mountains, wait for the disaster to happen. And now,
by the way, there's a big disaster which is due to happen, and I think I'll let Professor Iyer talk about it. Only just to give you a hint, अभी तक जो बाढ़ आई है, अभी तक लोग सिर्फ पानी से मरे हैं। अभी पूरा माउंटेन कोलैप्स होने वाला है, जिस तरीके से आपने सुरंगें बनाई हैं वहाँ पे, and it has not been done keeping any safety measures in mind.
Absolutely.
There's every possibility that the whole mountains might shift because the whole thing below is like a rabbit warren.
Absolutely.
Where you have dug and dug and dug in the most unplanned manner possible. ये जो आप छोटे छोटे प्रोजेक्ट्स की आप बात कर रहे हैं, आपने छोटे छोटे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स को दे दिया, क्योंकि उत्तरांचल में जो भी सरकार आती है सबसे पहला काम ये करती है कि अपने जितने रिश्तेदार हैं, वो चाचा, भतीजा, भांजा, जीजा, साला, जो भी लोग हैं, हर एक को आप फटाफट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे देते हैं, भले वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार हो या कांग्रेस की सरकार हो, जिसकी वजह से आप पॉलिटिकल पेट्रनेज बांटते हैं। अब ये पॉलिटिकल पेट्रनेज बांटने का जो सिस्टम है, इसकी वजह से उत्तरांचल में इतना बड़ा डिजास्टर हुआ। उत्तरांचल में इट वाज अ मैन मेड डिजास्टर, इट वाज नॉट अ नेचुरल डिजास्टर। जनाब
नहीं, देखिए क्या है कि इसमें मैं थोड़ा सा फर्क करूंगा कि मैन मेड डिजास्टर मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट में आया जी। डिजास्टर तो आने ही वाला था। देखिए क्या है कि आप 5 लाख गाड़ियां अंदर भेज रहे हैं। सबसे पहले आपकी ब्लैटेंसी ऑफ टूरिज्म देखिए आप, जो नदी अपना रास्ता बदल चुकी है उसके अंदर आप क्या कर रहे हो, जो नदी आपका रास्ता बदल चुकी है उसके अंदर आप घर बना रहे हो, आपके होटल बना रहे हो सब कुछ, तो ये भी एक कारण है। तो आई थिंक कैलामिटी तो नेचुरल डिजास्टर सब जगह आएंगे, लेकिन उसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए आपके पास कोई रास्ता नहीं था, आप उसमें बह गए और आपके जो ये छोटे छोटे बांध बनाने की कोशिश करी आपने बम्पर टू बम्पर, इससे आपको फर्दर नुकसान हुआ जी। लेकिन हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट पर से कोई नुकसान नहीं कर गया, क्योंकि इसका बिल्कुल विपरीत तेहरी वहां पर आपको बचा रहा था स्टोरेज डैम, और स्टोरेज प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो अपनी 1000 मेगावाट के ऊपर जो प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है उसके अंदर वो पूरे के पूरे देहरादून को बचाया उसने दिल्ली को बचाया। अगर तेहरी नहीं होता, मैं आपको ये बता सकता हूं कि पूरा उत्तराखंड नहीं, पूरा दिल्ली बाढ़ में होता इस वक्त जी। तो ये दोनों विडंबनाएं हैं हमारे पास कि हमारे पास एक तरफ हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट के अच्छे एग्जाम्पल हैं उत्तराखंड के अंदर, और दूसरी तरफ ये खराब वाले हैं जो पूरी माफिया से बिल्ट है।
It's like an old boys club, you know, you give it to everybody. जैसे मैं प्रोफेसर अय्यर को जानता हूँ, प्रोफेसर अय्यर मुझे जानते हैं, आज की तारीख में बोलते हैं भाई यहाँ पर हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट बन रहा है, आरकेबी साहब हमारे दोस्त हैं, चलो आरकेबी साहब बना देंगे। मतलब यही मतलब हुआ। और कोई नया कहीं और कोई हॉस्पिटल बन रहा है, हम कहा भाई प्रोफेसर अय्यर साहब उसको बना देंगे। मतलब ये हुआ क्योंकि हम लोग दोस्त हैं, इसलिए कर लीजिए। बिल्कुल, मतलब इससे बड़ी वाहियात क्या बात हो सकती है। मतलब आप लोगों की जिंदगी के साथ खेल रहे हैं, लोग देश की अर्थव्यवस्था के साथ आप खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं, कर क्या रहे हैं। Exactly the same thing is happening even with the BMC. पिछली मर्तबा जो आपने जो बात करी थी, जिसका जिक्र यहाँ पे किया गया था कि इतने ज़्यादा गड्ढे हैं मुंबई की सड़कों के ऊपर, उसके ऊपर ज़बरदस्त रिस्पॉन्स आया, लोग असल में बाहर आए। अब जैसे सबसे पहले यहाँ पर उसके बारे में बात हुई, और उसके बाद आप देखें, भले वो नगर सेवक हों या विधायक हों या सांसद हों, सब लोग, जैसे हमारे संजय निरुपम हैं, उनका पूरे परिवार सहित सब लोग बाहर आए। उनका भाई आप नहीं भरते हैं तो हम भर देंगे। बिल्कुल, because it's a matter of safety. Absolutely. But my point is, people of this country must wake up to the fact that democracy does not mean only the right to vote and the right to demand. It also means responsibility to be aware, to be alert, to be sure that you are not being taken for a ride. Sir,
I agree with you. See, there is definitely a public involvement issue here. Public in India is not at all bothered. Many times, as I told you last time also, I repeat, I don't have time. This is not my job. This is the job of the government.
Yes.
This is the job of the, okay, now we'll put this job of the media to expose it. That's it. But what happens to public action or proactive response to that situation? The proactive response does not exist in this country. And unless public bahar nahi aayegi, पब्लिक इन मुद्दों को नहीं उठाएगी, पब्लिक जोर नहीं लगाएगी अपने नगर सेवक और लोकल पॉलिटिकल मास्टर्स के ऊपर, तब तक हमारा कोई सुधार नहीं हो सकता.
Now, and the other thing that I will talk to you about, like for example, today we are talking about the floods in Uttaranchal.
Absolutely.
Okay, we congratulated Raghuram Rajan, of course, and we are going to be talking about Bhutan as well.
Absolutely.
आज
Now
की
that's
तारीख-
very interesting.
Now, आज
The
की तारीख-
development of Bhutan versus the development of Uttarakhand.
Now,
ये बात होगी हमारी.
अभी हम लोग बाढ़ की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है साहब?
Right.
अगर आप देखें किसी और न्यूज चैनल पर, वी आर ऑफ कोर्स नॉट अ न्यूज चैनल, एज आई टोल्ड यू इवन अर्लियर.
We are a community cable network.
We are a community cable
Platform. You're right.
We get people together and solve problems.
Absolutely.
आज की तारीख में I scanned all the channels today. I'm sure you must have done the same
Absolutely.
thing. You don't spend too much of time on channel, neither do I.
Right.
But in not one single channel was there even a mention of the greatest disaster that this country has faced in the last 20 or 30 years, namely the
Absolutely.
Uttaranchal floods.
Absolutely.
Now the story is off. It's
Yes.
off the radar. So
Exactly.
nobody's talking about it.
Today,
क्या मतलब हुआ उसका?
today we also, I'll tell you one more figure for your own audience. 5,000 people and their back and their bodies or any record is not available. Minimum 5,000 people as per government. As per I understand that there are at least 8 to 10,000 people whose whereabouts is unknown even today. So that is the situation. And people whose bodies have been found also, and their DNA mapping has been done according to them. There is no, I tell you, there is no network or information about how they are uploading it, what they are doing. Only a promise that this will be uploaded and done. Today, how many days are gone? And now slowly media has stopped talking about this.
No, because this is
The news is gone.
This is not on the radar anymore.
It is no TRP now.
That's right.
It's no TRP now. So nobody is covering it.
So today it is all about those 5 soldiers who have been killed at the border. जो
Absolutely.
पांच हमारे जवान जो हैं,
बिल्कुल.
जो मारे गए हैं,
बिल्कुल जी.
वो उसके बारे में आज है.
नहीं, वो बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन
वो होना चाहिए.
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए. मैं उसके बारे में एक और याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ. हमारे जो इससे पहले जवान बिहेड हो गए, उसकी न्यूज ही नहीं खबर है
जी.
और अभी इस न्यूज के साथ उसको डिस्कस ही नहीं कर रहे हैं.
Which is the strangest thing.
This is the strangest thing.
और उसके पहले जो बेचारा अपना एयरफोर्स का पायलट था,
हाँ जी.
वो लड़का जिसको टॉर्चर करके इतनी बुरी तरीके से उसके शव को वापस भेजा गया,
right.
और उसके बाद वो फुटेज मिली जो पाकिस्तानी टेलीविजन चैनल के ऊपर ही चली थी कि जिस पाकिस्तानी टुकड़ी में जो लोग इन्वॉल्व थे उसको टॉर्चर करने में
बिल्कुल
उन्होंने कबूला है और सबके सामने तालियां बजी हैं.
बिल्कुल.
आज उसके बारे में जिक्र होना चाहिए, उसके बारे में कोई जिक्र नहीं हो रहा है.
बिल्कुल. तो ये जो शॉर्ट साइटेड मीडिया अप्रोच है कि हम खाली अभी वाली बात करेंगे, पूरी कनेक्शन अगर आप देखें, कनेक्शन तो 47 से स्टोरी को कर सकते थे. किसी चैनल ने 1947 और 1971 का जो पूरा हुआ लड़ाई, बांग्लादेश का जो सेपरेशन हुआ, लिबरेशन हुआ, उस टाइम में जो जिस तरह का क्राइम किया गया बांग्लादेशी लोगों के ऊपर, और मुक्तिवानी लड़ी जरूर बड़ी बुरी तरह से, लेकिन जिस तरह से हुआ वहां से लेके आज तक हर बार हमारे लोगों के साथ यही हुआ है. इंडिया का रिस्पांस यही लगा है कि हम टफ प्रोटेस्ट लॉन्च करेंगे. मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा, इतने लोग मर रहे हैं, प्रोटेस्ट लॉन्च कर रहे हैं. मेरे ख्याल से टिट फॉर टैट 24 घंटे के अंदर हमें कुछ पाकिस्तानी सोल्जर्स को मार देना चाहिए.
No, but that's exactly what you were discussed last time.
Absolutely.
We were discussing.
हम तो चाइना को मारने की बात कर रहे हैं.
हम लोग ये बोल रहे थे कि भाई चाइना के अगर कोई लोग इन्फिल्ट्रेट करते हैं, जब हमारा लास्ट शो था 28 जुलाई को हम लोगों ने किया, 28 मुझे याद नहीं है,
29 तारीख को हमने बात की है.
उस वक्त यहाँ पर ये जिक्र आया था कि भाई चीन के लोग अगर यहाँ पर घुसपैठ करते हैं तो कोई 25 के 26 चीनी फौजियों को आप मरिया मेट कर दीजिए.
बिल्कुल.
और उसका उल्टा हो गया, आज पाकिस्तानियों ने 5 हमारे फौजी मार दिए.
बिल्कुल. तो ये उनका रिस्पॉन्स है कि आप नहीं काम करोगे तो आपके घर में घुस के आपके साथ ही बुरा करेंगे. ये इंडिया की ये वाली जो सरकार है, इसका पता नहीं क्या हुआ. ऐसा पतन हुआ है कि ये कुछ कर ही नहीं पा रही है. और सबसे बेकार बात है, हमारे एंटनी साहब आज क्या बोल गए. एंटनी साहब बोल गए कि ये कुछ टेररिस्ट और पाकिस्तानी सोल्जर्स के ड्रेस में आए हुए लोगों ने किया.
No, what else can he say? But as far as Anthony is concerned, I don't have too much of a. I tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have too much of a quarrel with AK Anthony.
It's not a question of quarrel.
What else can he say?
It is not a question of quarrel. It's a question of the kind of level these people have.
That is because of us. Let's be very clear. That is because of people like us.
Imagine.
Just one second, Prof.A.G.Iyer Saab. You of course don't agree with Anthony. Neither do I. But that is the response has come because of people like us. For instance, the footage we were showing just now of the Uttaranchal floods, that is off all channels.
Finished.
It's finished.
It's
It's last month's news.
Absolutely.
Those 30,000 people that died, they don't make news anymore.
Absolutely.
The dead bodies in Uttaranchal are now stinking, and they're stinking for the news channels as well. So nobody's talking about them. In a similar manner, these 5 chaps who have been killed, they'll be off the radar by next week. By next week, we'll have a news scandal. We'll have something new. It is like, a thriller minute. That's what we're doing.
See, people who attack the parliament And then those soldiers who took care of them. Today we don't discuss about them.
We don't.
Today our friend who actually caught Kasab, Omle, is nowhere in the radar and map of any media. और
उसके परिवार के बारे में कोई बात भी नहीं कर रहा है, जो बेचारा निहत्था पुलिस ऑफिसर बगैर हथियार के जिसने कसाब को पकड़ा और अपनी जान न्यौछावर कर दी एक आतंकवादी को जिंदा पकड़ने के लिए, जिससे यह साबित हो गया कि इसमें पाकिस्तान का हाथ है।
बिल्कुल।
उसके ऊपर तो न जाने कितने करोड़ रुपए न्यौछावर कर देने चाहिए थे। आज उसके परिवार के बारे में तक कोई बात नहीं कर रहा।
और मेरा कहना है, और वो रोल मॉडल होना चाहिए था, वो हमारा ब्रांड एम्बेसडर ऑफ फाइटिंग टेररिज्म होना चाहिए था।
That's right.
उसकी जगह वो कहीं खड़ा ही नहीं है।
But as far as we are concerned, we are more concerned about Mr. Shahrukh Khan.
Unbelievable.
शाहरुख खान और सलमान खान के बीच में दोनों ने जफ्फी मारी एक दूसरे को, वो बहुत बड़ी खबर होती है। ओमले साहब के बारे में कोई बात नहीं करता है, जिन विचारों के सर काटे गए उनके बारे में कोई बात नहीं करता है। एक दिन 2 दिन बात होती है, उसके बाद कोई और बात नहीं होती है। बट दिस इज टेरेबल, इजंट इट?
और इसमें मैं याद दिलाना चाहूंगा महाराष्ट्र के लिए, क्योंकि वी आर सिटिंग इन मुंबई, इसमें पुंडलिक काने करके एक सोल्जर है, नायक है जी, वो मारे गए हैं। वो बहुत ही बोल्ड बच्चा।
That is because the Maratha ally was due to take over from the Bihar regiment, and he was being taken over just to be shown the terrain.
Absolutely. अब ये बात आपको समझनी चाहिए कि बिहार और मराठा ये दोनों साथ वहां काम कर रहे हैं, और यहाँ हम बिहारी और मराठी की लड़ाई लगाने की बात।
And now the Maratha ally is taken over. Maratha ally, the Jangi Paltan is taken over.
So this is very interesting. Both the regiments lost. Yes. But the politicians from both the states do a batting against each other.
Which is
this is India. This is sad India. A united army and a divided India.
But that's been the story of India for the last 10,000 years, hasn't it?
I know. I don't think 10,000 years.
पिछले 10,000 साल से इसी वजह से हम लोग बार बार हम जंग हारे हैं, गुलाम बने हैं जी, क्योंकि राजनीति करते हैं हम लोग आपस में। We are only scoring points of each other. For example, as far as you are concerned, जैसे आप हैं, आप गए भूटान, वहां पे मैं फिर अपने दर्शकों के सामने बात रखना चाहता हूं, प्रोफेसर अय्यर नीड्स टू बी कंग्रेचुलेटेड फॉर द फैक्ट दैट ही वाज एक्चुअली एबल टू सक्सेसफुली compete against the Chinese and literally drive them out of Bhutan in a way, or at least block them.
Not only that, in the public forum, when Bhutanese people were there, Bhutanese government was there, Indian ambassador was there, I have attacked openly the Chinese presence, and I said if Chinese attempt to do anything to Bhutan, then the response will be not only Bhutan but also India. And believe me, we have stalled their movement into Bhutan. All hydropower machinery goes from companies like BHEL. If ever a multinational enters, it will be only the likes of Voith and Alstom who are already operating in India. But no Chinese company will be allowed to enter Bhutan, that I can tell you, in terms of equipment. And in terms of engineering, forget about it. HCC, Patel Engineering, Tata's, L&T, GMR, Jindal, all of them are doing great job in Bhutan. And next, what I did is, I wanted some role and participation for the private sector of Bhutan. That they should do joint sector development of these projects. Not like the Uttarakhand model, where you give to Rishtadar and relatives and all that. But local people of Bhutan must be involved, because we have only one great friend of India in the entire SAARC region, and that is this country, the little neighbor called Bhutan, whose concept is not GDP, gross domestic product, but GNH, gross national happiness.
That's right,
so
gross national happiness.
Happiness comes through serving community, serving people, and not by running governments which actually say we are ruling you, but running governments that say we facilitate. We don't regulate and control, but facilitate. We have cooperative governments. You know, we have governments which help the people build bridges, and we have government which help people to grow, and not government which work against the people.
Now, but the point over here is, Professor Iyer, now we could see that footage of Bhutan, and we let Professor Iyer talk us through what that is. Why is it, this is what I really would like to ask Professor Iyer, and I would like him to, you know, elaborate a bit on that. Why is it that the government of India is not doing anything about this new Chinese attack? All right, the Chinese have been attacking us from all over the place. You know, there's border infiltration, 150 different border infiltrations in this last 1 year, and so on and so forth. But if the Chinese are actually able to get into Bhutan, what do you think will be the effect on us?
Actually, I must tell you something very horrific. You know, Chinese have already cut one very important portion of Bhutan on the Tibet border. You know, I would say between Tibet and Bhutan, they have taken a very long territory, and they have claimed that territory as well. So Bhutan is under pressure, and because there is the presence of the Indian military along with the Royal Bhutan Army, and the dogged resistance of these two groups has resulted in Bhutan China not advancing. Now China knows they cannot advance because I will give you the history of Bhutan. Bhutan was never captured by British.
Yes.
Bhutan was always independent because the leader of this tribe, Wangchuk, and the other people, the king, the Wangchuk dynasty, it fought very hard the British and their entry. And they're fighting the Chinese also hard. In this case, now Indians are involved. Indian Military Training Academy is involved there. But I tell you, with all this, with our attitude today, we have to be extra careful that while they are engaging us in other places, I think they want to do something to Bhutan, militarily.
Yes.
And that is the real risk, because that you do not control. That is another country, de facto, de jure, even if it looks like one of your states, you are actually working with them. And the danger that they will be quickly suppressed with military might is very, very large. And India is just not waking up. India is just doing its deals and other things and talking about it. It is now looking at the hydro deal and all other things not in a very futuristic fashion, but it is looking at a business model. And I think there are two angles here. One is the Ministry of Power angle. Ministry of Power wants to support. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy wants to support. But Ministry of External Affairs, it looks at this whole hydropower development as strategic issue. But beyond strategic issue, it does not look at the threat that the Chinese do for all the assets that we have.
The fact remains that as far as we are concerned, we have to protect ourselves from all over the place. Before
we have to also protect Bhutan.
Yes.
I'll say this, we must protect Bhutan.
No, that's what I was coming to. Before we get encircled. Yes. Because effectively India is now encircled.
Absolutely.
And
through Bhutan, it is like a dagger entering your heart. Straight through.
Right.
So if you don't want that, you must fight that whole thing.
So why is it not happening?
Because see, we don't have, again I told you, the political will. This government does not have the political will.
But if you could do it, why can't the government do it?
Because they don't have a will only. Now political, leave it. They don't have will also. It is, or I would say they have a willful ignorance. I am willfully ignorant. Chinese come, I am willfully ignorant. Pakistan does something, I am willfully ignorant. Because it is convenient for me not to act. I can relax. You know, Ghaznavi raided India many years ago.
Yes.
Right? And we were, the same thing happened at a time. Unless we got some Jaychans in our system, we would not have been...
Jaychans and Mir Jafars.
Absolutely.
Later.
We would not have been in this situation.
That's
so
right.
I think we are going to the same situation. We have our own Mir Jafars even today and our own Jaychans today. So they are saying, no, we need friendship with China the Great. I remember Nehru's last statement after the defeat and after everything was in balance, in the 1962 war. It was not a defeat, it was a created defeat because we did not use Air Force. But Nehru had a great intelligence. He said, now countries like India, this experience that we have to imagine that there is no place for weaker nations. And then we should strengthen ourselves. From this experience, we should strengthen ourselves. 64 Nehru Sahab died. What have we done to strengthen ourselves from his experience? Have we learned from history?
Not as far as the Chinese are concerned.
Not at all. But Chinese was the biggest example.
Yes.
Because he was doing Panchsheel, he was going for Inichini Bhai Bhai, he wanted a grand design where he did not want Western powers to rule the whole of Asia. So Nehru's vision was not bad, but he had an ally. The Chinese were trying to come on top of it. Their whole theory was, if we go on top of India, then only we'll be leaders in Asia. So this is the same situation. They were traitors. The Chinese...
Let's be very clear, but I tell you what.
Traitors.
But I tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, I must take issue with you over there, Prof.A.G.Iyer.
Why not?
I must take issue with you over there.
Why
Because
not?
the Chinese are true to China.
Let
Let's
it
be
be.
very clear. So we have to be true to India. जहाँ तक हिंदुस्तान का सवाल है, our national interest should be supreme. Our national interest should be supreme, not the Chinese national interest.
I agree with you.
In a similar manner,
I agree with
as
you.
far as the Chinese, so as far as we are concerned,
I'm saying the same
we can,
thing.
yes,
In fact, in a different way.
we can never trust the Chinese.
But
You can never trust any other nation as well, because as far as the US is concerned, as the Americans have shown, what the British used to do long time ago,
Absolutely.
when the sun never used to set on the British Empire, that you hit one British citizen, one Englishman anywhere, and the whole English army will be there at your doorstep.
Exactly.
As Margaret Thatcher showed when Argentina took over the Falklands by force.
Exactly.
Now, in a similar manner, as far as we are concerned, unless and until we are actually able to use or show that force, or to show that India is no longer a soft state, no longer a weak state, which actually provides escape routes for countries like Pakistan and China, as provided by A.K. Antony, this thing is going to happen, and it will continue to happen.
But again, let us look at the same argument. We have issues. So I think we have discussed this. So let us come on the screen.
Please.
You remember the Bangladesh, and we have a different view on that, right? What happened? Indira Gandhi separated Bangladesh. At the time, it was to be done, but we have a different view. In fact, it is you who started that view, and I want to tell the channel today.
Yes.
What is the view? Let us know this truth. So if we had not done anything, we had just allowed Mukti Vahini to do what it wants, we had done a neutral role, we would not have gone into Bangladesh, freed them. Today, even Bangladesh is not your friend. Minus Sheikh Hasina, nobody is your friend.
Rightfully speaking, this is my personal view, of course.
Absolutely, it was your view.
This is my personal view, and lots of people I know disagree with me. We should never have liberated East Pakistan from West Pakistan.
Right.
What we should have done is we should have said, East Pakistan is your country. We are not interested in creating a new country. You give back whatever you have taken from Kashmir.
You take complete Kashmiri back.
Kashmir back. You and your 90,000 prisoners back. As far as East Pakistan is concerned, it is yours. Please control it. We are not concerned.
Absolutely.
Today, by today, let me tell you, Pakistan would have broken up already.
Absolutely. So we took a cancerous situation in our hand. And the same thing, today, unbelievable, with all the cooperation of hydropower that we have with Bhutan. Look at Bangladesh. They don't allow the Farakka barrage to be constructed and, built so that the flooding does not happen both sides. And from the Bihar side, Kosi floods even Nepal, and Nepal behaves the same way with you. So you have the same situation. Only one country has cooperated, ensured that you use the hydropower and the hydro and power for India. But the other two countries ensure that you destroy yourself. You have a situation in Kosi, you have a situation on the West Bengal side. So Bengal and Bihar are even today down, out, and every time flood comes, they go. And I'll tell you the funny thing. Pakistan, just about a week or 15 days back, were drastically flooded. I don't know how they are coming and killing our people, because if we just take their pants off now, I tell you, that country is nothing, it is hollow. We will be directly confronting Taliban and Hafiz Saeed. That is the situation, and their army has no way to control them, because they are now working with them in tandem, and this country is not only a failed state, it is the biggest cancer on the planet Earth.
Right, and as far as we are concerned, very unfortunately, we never stand by our friends. We've shown that over the years, isn't it? For example, as far as the Iranians are concerned, the Iranians have always voted in favor of India.
Iran is a very old genetic friend of India.
And so did Libya under Colonel Gaddafi.
Absolutely.
And very unfortunately, we have never ever stood by them, which is the sad part. Now, as far as Bhutan itself is concerned, now we saw a lot of stuff over there, about solar power, about this power, that power. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Okay, now I'll explain to you what happened. On 24th and 25th of July, in spite of all the problems where I did not get any support from the government of India, minus the great encouragement that I got from the ambassador of India in Bhutan, Mr. V.P. Haran, I must thank him personally on this program, that his great encouragement and also the support I got from people of Bhutan, the common people of Bhutan, I would not have been able to do this. But remember that Bhutan's people are friends of India. The second thing is, we wanted a hydropower development to exceed. Today we have a target of 2020 in Bhutan. We want to export 10 gigawatt of hydropower from Bhutan. But that potential is today close to 80 gigawatt. So that is the type of potential that we must embrace. We must not have small targets. Now this development of Bhutan, India must encourage, India must be involved, India must send joint sector cooperation, it must open up. And I want an Indian private sector role along with Bhutanese private sector role to increase. It's not only government to government contact in this. That was the reason for conducting this seminar.
Right, and did you get any opposition?
Not on hydro at all.
Right.
Hydro, everybody was supportive. In fact, Bhutan was very happy that I was recommending private sector role in Bhutan, because that has been opposed by the previous government in Bhutan, because somewhere they felt that, see, there is a feeling which has to be addressed. The feeling in the secretarial or the ministerial level of the bureaucracy in Bhutan is the small contractors must not become like Uttarakhand. They are afraid that relatives, friends, small contractors will come and take away, and they can create havoc, because if they don't have technology, they don't have exposure, they can make a mistake. So for this, I have given a solution that these smaller companies should have joint sector operations with Indian private sector companies. That means HCC, JP, and all the big contractors of India must be allowed to make joint venture with local Bhutanese contractors. And this joint venture company should execute certain projects, and they should gain experience slowly, steadily. And my theory was, let the Bhutanese build 35, 50, 100 megawatt projects. Let them build these projects. Let them not go to the big Talas, the Puna Sanchu. The Talas, Puna Sanchus must be built by experts in the world. But smaller projects can be jointly handled between Bhutanese private sector and Indian private sector. So this is a new dimension that I gave to that argument of building and furthering the cooperation between India and Bhutan. And the second thing we did is, any hydro project takes about 7 to 10 years to develop in Bhutan.
Right.
That, and India, how it funds is, India gives 30% grant, 70% comes from long-term debt, which is a 10-year to 15-year debt cycle with 10% interest rates. Now, whenever the Bhutanese start developing these projects, the problem is they start paying the interest during construction even before power is delivered onto the grid. So what happens, Bhutan is getting into a rupee crunch because every time they are repaying before they are earning.
Right.
So I gave an interesting solution that put up the solar and do it parallelly across exchange trading, not across, because we buy Bhutan power at 2 rupees per unit, which cannot be the case with solar.
Yes.
But solar is very small, like 4 to 5%. And all Bhutanese will come into currency mode, because if they sell that at 6 rupees 50 paisa, which is today's quota 6 rupees, and through an exchange process, and then we buy all that by pooling mechanism through Power Trading Corporation, we can make Bhutan a very strong country there. When they are financially strong, they will be further with you. And if this equation sets in, we will have set in a trigger of Nepal will come to you with friendship with such a treaty. They will say we also want to do the same thing. And I'll tell you, Bangladesh will also become your friend, because they will say India can buy this power. And today India's total power shortfall is a massive 80 gigawatt, and I don't see any chance of developing hydropower in Arunachal with the weak need approach that we have with China. We don't see. Sikkim development is also stopped. And I tell you, all the hydropower development of India, 150,000 megawatt is under. It is completely stalled and under jeopardy. Under the circumstances, we have to up the ante at Bhutan for hydro and help them by putting the solar and buying the solar also from them.
And right, and there'll be no discussion in Parliament, and there'll be no politicians screaming about the fact that how this hydro project in Bhutan should be stopped, because you don't have jurisdiction there.
No,
That's
not
it.
only that. Let us understand, Bhutan is a very large country in terms of space, area,
Yes.
and its forest reserves, but it has a population of 7 lakh people. My own suburb, Dombili, has 11 lakh people, my friend.
That's right.
So Bhutan's problem of population is not there. Like, for example, I give one of their recent projects, I don't want to name it obviously in the channel, one of the new projects that's coming up, they have to displace and rehabilitate one person. And the power they are going to get is close to 2,000 megawatt.
2,000 megawatts.
And displacement of only one person.
Isn't that amazing?
They will make him the richest man.
Isn't that
Bhutan,
amazing?
no problem.
Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. One person, just
Yes,
one person,
one person had to be displaced.
And
So
we
this
still
is the unique position of
and we
Bhutan.
still have not been able to rehabilitate all the displaced persons of the Narmada project.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
all those people who had been displaced by the Koyna Dam project,
Yes.
they are likely to be displaced again in Konkan.
Exactly.
Now,
No,
because
we
all
cannot
those guys who had been displaced by the Koyna Dam, they were rehabilitated somewhere near Ratnagiri.
Right.
Now a new dam is coming up there,
Right.
and they will have to be displaced again.
But I must also tell you here, because you will again say I am going to Gujarat. See, Gujarat has rehabilitated 100% of its people on its side on the Narmada project. This must be known, because we remember Medha fought a
But that's
very
on
hard battle.
that's on Madhya Pradesh side. Medha is
Yeah.
still fighting on the Madhya Pradesh
I
side.
know, but not on the Gujarat side.
That's right.
So let us know that if one state can do it, every state can do it. Gujarat's R&R, that is rehabilitation resettlement policy, is one of the finest not only in India but in the world. It is being discussed in other places. I will tell you that the Narmada project people wanted participation. In fact, the Narmada people could have done a presentation in Bhutan, but you know the protocol that the state government has to ask the permission of the central government to go and make a presentation also. So it is not feasible.
So it is not feasible. But as far as Bhutan is concerned, Bhutan is the new frontier where
Yes.
the hydropower project is concerned.
Absolutely.
And Bhutan
it
could
is
save us.
India's link. It is India's link, umbilical cord. I am telling you, we should not forget the umbilical cord, because there is the history of Bhutan Buddhism is linked totally to India's central India, Nagpur, because Padmasambhava, their main guru, actually has a link. Further, his gurus and his previous gurus and mentors are linked to central India, Nagpur, in India's Vidarbha. Remember that. In Maharashtra, we must be very proud. In fact, Maharashtra should be the most friendly state of India with Bhutan. I would love Maharashtra
So in effect,
to have a cooperation with Bhutan.
So in fact, what you're really saying is, not only does more cooperation with Bhutan solve our power problems,
Absolutely.
it also solves the strategic problem
Yes.
of Chinese intervention.
Absolutely.
So you block China there,
Exactly.
you've already kind of secured your frontier as far as
Absolutely.
China is concerned.
Absolutely.
That's number one.
And then
number
you give
two,
them a scare, because Tibet is
that's
just
right.
up. You can
That's right.
prick in.
That's right.
You
So
can prick in into Tibet, you know.
I don't really know when that will happen. I hope it happens.
We must
one
do
of
it.
these days. We
must
have
do it.
to.
We
have to.
must support Tibetans openly and ask for the independence of Tibet. And we should give these Chinese now a bloody nose on Tibet.
That's right.
No neutral issue. We should support the Dalai Lama. We should make that state. We should now take that power, take that fight to their camp.
And if the Dalai Lama does not want independence, we should support the Tibetans anyway without the Dalai Lama. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's been my view for a long, long time.
Yes, I
However,
know.
as far as Bhutan itself is concerned, you can see it, I can see it, most strategic experts can see it. Why can't the government of India see it?
See, because I think people just want to relax. They don't want to take a stand. Our entire bureaucracy today, somehow I would say 80% of bureaucracy has become subservient. There are very few officers like that UP girl who is
Durga
come like
Shakti.
a fresh air.
Durga
I tell
Shakti-
you.
Durga Shakti
Absolutely.
Nagpal.
Durga Shakti Nagpal is a fresh lease of air to the Indian democracy. I hope all the IS officers go with her. In fact, the IS officers should have stalled the whole country by this time for her. That one lady. And I tell you, the whole politics of India would change. If they bring the country to standstill for 2 days by not working or coming in black badges protesting and not working in the office for Durga Shakti Nagpal, I tell you, the UP government will go to dogs. I tell you, Mulayam Singh Yadav and his son are behaving like the biggest criminals. I'm sorry to say that. They have to be brought to books. If they don't agree, Netaji must pay for it.
Right, you heard
That's
it.
my word. And Akhilesh, that Johnny must be sent off, I tell you. He is one of the worst examples that India can have. He is trying to suppress the young woman. The young woman will have the last laugh. And Akhilesh will never become again the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, I can assure you. That will be the situation. That must be the fitting reply of the people of UP. This man must be thrown out. He is an idiot.
All right, you heard him.
That's it. For me, he is an idiot. He's a big joker.
You heard him, all right. But the fact remains that as far as Durga Shakti Nagpal is concerned, the people of the village itself are supporting Durga. They themselves are supporting her.
These people are open criminals. Raja Bhaiya is out. The biggest criminals are out. I will salute Mayawati. She was a far better ruler. And I tell you, this country is paying for that. In fact, people of UP have voted the worst government in. They have done a big mistake. Mayawati did nothing. In fact, I tell you, even I like her park. Her park is one of the finest parks. You go and see it. It did not do any damage to any of. Noida was safe. Girls were safe in Noida. Today, no girl is safe in Noida. No girl is safe in
anywhere in UP.
Anywhere in UP.
What do you mean by saying in Noida? Anywhere in Uttar Pradesh.
This man must be ashamed. He must be. I tell you, he must be sent to mental asylum if you can.
All right, into a mental asylum. You heard him.
Power has gone into his head. Akhilesh is just a small fry. He has no political experience. He should be thrown out. Next time, Lok Sabha elections, they should be. I tell you, if people of UP are really people of India, they should throw these people out.
You heard him. You absolutely heard him. We wanted to talk about Bhutan, but what has Professor Iyer said? Professor Iyer has told you a couple of things which are very, very important. Number one, he's welcomed Raghuram Rajan. I hope, and as everybody hopes, I hope he does what he has promised to do, or what all of us expect him to do, and I think he will. Number two, Bhutan, strategically the most important country in and around India, not just for blocking China, but also to solve our power problems. In fact, most of our power problems can actually be solved by Bhutan. That is the most important thing, and the rest of the stuff, of course, you heard from Professor Iyer.
I want to also say, if the Congress is a real government, they should immediately impose president's rule in UP. Instantly, yesterday it should have been done. The UP government today, and the Congress especially, should ensure that there is a president rules in UP. And this government of Akhilesh Yadav must go as an example in this country.
You heard him. You heard him.
Durga Shakti Nagpal is the queen. She must be the one who should be supported by the whole nation.
And the whole nation, as far as I know, the whole nation is supporting.
Yeah, but
everybody is supporting.
I want it to be blatant, open and straight.
Right.
And we will not allow any honest officer to be touched in this country. And we will crush anybody who touches it.
Right, you heard him. That's all that we've got for you in our program on infrastructure. Very shortly, in just another 5 minutes, our old friend Pandit Subhash Raj will also be here. And of course, we'll be discussing Munir Khan, but that will be in about 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much, Professor Iyer, and all the more strength to you. This is wonderful. The work you've done in Bhutan, I think you really deserve a medal. Has the government of India decided to honor you yet?
Why they will honor me? They want you.
You've actually saved the country.
No, you look at it. The last 20 years, who have been given Padma Shris? It is all friends and relatives, 50%.
All just like those people who built all those
Absolutely.
rabbit warren dams that destroyed Uttaranchal.
Absolutely. And we remember the great athletes Randhawa.
Yes.
We have talked about Milkha Singh. Great, he's a great guy. But why didn't we talk of Mr. Randhawa?
No, we didn't.
We didn't talk. And look at him. His sons are following decathlon. And
Yes.
he's not promoting his son. He's promoting his son's friend who is better than him. Can you believe? Will we
That's
get
right.
such coaches? On this last note, that we need nationalists. We need people who love the country. We need people who love the country to lead it.
Right.
So power to all who love the country. Power to you, power to me, power to Durga Nagpal, power to everybody who loves India. Hail the nation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Thank you very much, Professor Iyer.